Hey everybody, Stippling here with a quick look back at the Fall 2016 Rogue One Buildable Figures. I've already reviewed each of these sets in their own videos in great detail. You can check those out here or in the video description below. So my focus instead will be on how they compare to one another, how they work as an entire wave of figures, and what my thoughts are on the current state of buildable action figures. There were numerous new parts in this wave, but for the sake of time I'm going to focus only on new molds and not recolors. With that said, we received 3 new head molds, a large, rounded upper thigh armor shell, and a new feminine-inspired full torso armor piece this wave. As usual, the new heads all look great, but do little for Marcus not looking to make that specific Star Wars character. I continue to dislike the socket connection point on these heads, as they make many simple head poses a nightmare to achieve. The new rounded upper thigh armor shell is a respectable addition to the CCBS part inventory. I like how this piece covers an extensive amount of surface area and how the rounded edges do more for covering around the bone piece. I felt as though the piece did not provide sufficient coverage for the largest of bone pieces, and LEGO will still have to find a better solution for leg coverage if they continue to churn out these large-legged figures. This new feminine-inspired torso armor was a surprise to me. I think this armor piece did a fantastic job at adding humanoid features to a figure, and it blended seamlessly with the current selection of parts. I wish that we had this piece when Bionicle was still in production. A piece like this would have worked wonders for Gali in distinguishing her feminine characteristics. There were only 3 sets this wave, but after reviewing each of them, my favorite to least favorite became very clear. My favorite would have to have been K2SO. This may come as a shock to some of you, as I was not exceptionally kind to this set in my review, and I found numerous minor details that I was unhappy with. However, I feel as though the end product took the Star Wars construction line in a bold new direction, offering up a variety of customized builds rather than sticking to traditional and basic construction techniques. The places where K2SO fell short were not enough to off-put me from the innovative design and the good features that dominated most of his composition. The set also came with a great variety of new and recolored pieces, and makes for a great parts pack and the biggest bang for your buck at the price to parts ratio. My least favorite set was the Imperial Death Trooper. While I feel as though there was nothing overtly wrong with this set, the designer brought little new to the table and instead created a carbon copy of previously released sets with a new head mold and some forgettable accessories. Most of the parts in this set are not unique to this set, and thusly it made for a poor parts pack as well. Jyn Erso falls somewhere in the middle between these two. Her build was unique, but also harkened back to some previously established techniques. Her overall shaping is well done, and I appreciated that LEGO finally took the extra effort to add some gender dimorphism between their figures. The great coverage in the middle of the figure came at the cost of posability, and I couldn't help but feel as though there must be some middle ground between the two. She came with a good number of new and recolored parts, but the totality of the parts was low, and yet the cost was the same as the other two. When all is said and done, these sets were quality products that people of all ages can build, enjoy, and love. I'm a little alarmed at the growing trend, no pun intended, of the legs. They're getting longer and longer with each wave, and they're at the point now where they're almost laughably long and disproportionate. I feel as though these 3 sets did a great job at marketing the upcoming Rogue One film, and getting them certainly did a tremendous job at raising my enthusiasm level for the upcoming film. Each set ranges in complexity from mundane to masterful, and each set in isolation had enough good in it to warrant a purchase. The totality of these sets and what they might mean for the future of the CCBS action figure line of products is where things get a bit more foreboding for me. As a line of products, 3 action figures per wave of a pre-established series is not enough to keep the action figure line afloat. If LEGO has any intentions of progressing and expanding the market for action figure toys, then less is not more, and piggybacking off the easy sales of Star Wars will not be enough to catapult this genre of products into the hearts and minds of children again. It would take something with the boldness and tenacity of the original Bionicle, a lush, fertile setting for a product and a story to be born to really capture that feeling of 2001. LEGO knows how to do this. They've essentially created the perfect formula for birthing out popular toy lines. We saw it in the past year with Nexo Knights. With a solid story foundation and proper marketing, they can literally predict which series will be the next big bang for LEGO. If the action figure line ever needed a big bang to launch itself anew, then it would be now. I can only hope that these Star Wars sets are a diversion as they prepare whatever's up their sleeve. I have to believe that. The alternatives are just too hard to bear. Sorry for getting a bit grim there, but sometimes the reality of things isn't always as pleasant to say or to hear. Regardless, these sets were a lot of fun to put together and introduced a fair number of new parts and techniques to the equation to expand upon. So what are your thoughts about this line of Star Wars action figures and the overall direction of the CCBS construction line as a whole? I look forward to hearing from each of you, and as always, thanks for watching.